What's up everybody? Today we are going to be making my favorite Chinese recipe, and that is General Tso chicken. It's spicy, it's sweet, it's crunchy, and I'm going to show you guys how to make it absolutely perfect. Let's make this General Tso chicken. First we're going to need to grab 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast, and we're going to initially trim this up a little bit and cut any of this fat and gristle off. Once that's removed, we're going to be cutting diagonally down this chicken breast and kind of just making these diagonal cuts, which we will then proceed to cut into chunks, yielding the perfect shape for takeout Chinese chicken. Now this next step is completely optional, but take your chicken chunks and place them in a Ziploc bag, and we're going to make a quick marinade. A couple tablespoons of light soy sauce, a small splash of vinegar, and a teaspoon of cornstarch. Then we're just going to massage this after sealing the bag and let it sit in your refrigerator for at least 30 minutes. While we're waiting on our chicken to marinate, I'm going to be making the General Tso sauce. So start by grating 1 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. The best way to peel this is with a spoon, then grate it. I use the world's smallest cheese grater because I found it at my grocery store for $1, but a microplane or a fine mince with a knife will do the trick. Follow that up with the same process of 2 cloves of garlic, finely minced, 1/4 cup of light soy sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of chili flakes, followed up with 1/8 cup of honey, 1/4 cup of white vinegar, 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil, 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. White works fine if you don't have it, an optional splash of some dark soy sauce for color, a few cracks of black pepper, and then whisk all of that together until it is thoroughly combined. Now we need to make a slurry by combining 1 teaspoon of cornstarch with 1 teaspoon of water. This is going to help act as a thickening agent for our sauce and will activate with heat, making our sauce nice and thick. Now let's talk breading. Here I have 2 cups of cornstarch in a bowl, and I'm going to be adding 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now the reason that we're using cornstarch is that it's going to provide a nice kind of glassy, craggly texture to our chicken, which is found in Chinese cooking. Now I'm going to be adding in my marinated chicken, and this might look like an excessive amount of breading, and it is. You want every piece of this chicken to be nice and coated. No dry spots on this, so kind of just massage it around, and then I'm going to set this on a separate plate so I don't have to fish out my chicken in this big bowl of breading. Now that our chicken is breaded, we can go ahead and head over to the fryer. I've got a large pot here. You can use a wok if it's carbon steel, but if you're using a non-stick wok, do not fry chicken in it because the coating on it will come off. So using your pot, I'm bringing my oil up to about 350 degrees and adding each piece in individually, cooking in batches, and we're just going to fry this until it's about 80% done cooking. As you can see, my chicken is starting to get a little bit golden brown, so I'd say it's about 80% done here, and I'm taking this out and letting it sit on a wire rack. And this chicken will go in for a second fry at a higher temperature. As you can see, it's a nice kind of pale golden color, but we're going to increase the temperature to about 375 and add all of our chicken back in. The initial go, you want to do this in batches, but at the end, add it all in and let it cook for an extra minute, and it's going to offer ultra crispy chicken, which is what you are looking for, with kind of this really craggly outside, and it's just going to be super crispy even with all of that sauce that we have on it. Now we do have to prep some veggies here, so for my sauce I'm going to be cutting up 4 serrano peppers. You can also use dry chilies, anything you want, but I'm just splitting these in half to add a little bit additional heat. And this wouldn't be General Tso chicken with like 2 or 3 pieces of broccoli in the overall dish. So I'm using a head of broccoli here, chopping up some big chunks. And after I cut those up, I kind of cut them to where they have these little flat sections so we can get a nice sear on them. Alright, so I'm using a wok here, but you can use a large pan. Just adding in a splash of oil, and then I'm just going to kind of coax this around the edge, making sure that the entire surface is nicely coated with oil. And then I'm going to be taking my halved broccoli florets and kind of just placing them with the flat side down so they get a nice sear on the bottom. You want this to be on a relatively high heat, You can go much higher if you have a carbon steel wok, but like I said earlier, you want to keep it at like a medium high with a non-stick wok. And you're just going to sear these until they get a little bit of color. Toss them around the oil for about a minute. You definitely want them to maintain their crunch. Now take your broccoli out, and we're going to be adding in our sauce. So just pour your sauce directly into your wok. I would say go ahead and put this on like a medium high. So what we're trying to do here is heat up the sugars and kind of caramelize everything. Now I'm adding in my fresh peppers to kind of infuse the heat and flavors into this sauce. So as the sauce bubbles, it's going to release a lot of flavor. After these have gone for about a minute and a half, remove them from the sauce. And just let this sauce cook for about 10 or 15 seconds, and then we are going to be adding in our cornstarch slurry from earlier. So while this sauce is hot, we're going to be adding in our slurry. This is going to activate with heat, and it will take a minute, but I promise you it will become nice and thick as those sugars caramelize and that cornstarch activates. So as you can see, it's starting to get nice and thick, so I'm going to be adding in my broccoli, and then go ahead and add in all of your chicken here. And the last step to this is to just toss everything together, allowing that chicken to kind of soak up the sauce. And this chicken is absolutely amazing. It's extremely crunchy even after adding this sauce, thanks to that additional fry, which I personally think is a crucial step. So now I'm just plating this over some white rice that I had left over and just heated it up in the microwave. And this is it, guys, General Tso chicken. Alright guys, the General Tso chicken is done, so let's dive in for this taste test. So immediately off the bat, I don't know if you could hear it, but it's still holding its crunch. I really think that double fry just adds so much texture to this that you don't really get at like a takeout Chinese restaurant where the food might have been sitting for a little bit. All those factors play into the crispiness, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, this is some of the best General Tso chicken that I've had. The flavor is right on point with your traditional Chinese takeout. It's got the sweetness, the stickiness, and as well as that little hint of spice kind of on the back of your tongue, not overpowering. Phenomenal. Overall, I'll give this General Tso chicken a 10 out of 10, and I will definitely be making this again. Alright everybody, and that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to this channel, drop a like on the video, and if you aren't already subscribed, what are you doing, bro? You need to subscribe to my channel, okay? We're cooking good food here every single week, so stay tuned for the next video, and I will see you guys on the next one.